We've got the red button of lightness. Hi, everyone. This is Amy Palvido, and this is the Data Center News Show, and coming to you live. Allie is coming to us live from New York Airport because she's leaving DCD. One of the lucky ones that made it because my flight was canceled. But yeah, and we're going to talk. This is just a girls' show. I purposely did that for this one because, first of all, all of y'all need to come back. Roxanne usually comes. I need more women on the show, but I really want to. This is International Women's Month. I wanted to have a show that highlighted women in the data center industry. We need to talk about it more. We're going to talk today a little bit about kind of the retention and recruitment, and there's a gap of women in the industry. So we really kind of need to address that. And the other, typical topics that we like to talk about, the current news. I don't know if y'all saw, but Bernie Sanders and AOC introduced a bill for a data center moratorium. So if y'all want to opine on that, I have plenty to say. So, but before we get started, I will let my guests introduce themselves, and we'll let the new guests go first. Catherine.
Oh, hi. Yes, my name is Catherine Lemus. I'm with Carrier Global Corporation. I've been there for about 4 years. We're based in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. I am currently working remotely in Fort Myers, Florida, which is on the West Coast. And my role at Carrier is data center strategy and business development. So I support the sales growth teams and kind of have my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the industry regarding market, industry, technology, intelligence in a nutshell.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you being here. All right, Allie, your turn, girlfriend, as you navigate Newark.
Hey, I want to apologize. There is an entire, perhaps, bachelorette party, New Jersey bachelorette party, enjoying some Long Island iced teas before they get on their flight. I kind of want to join them or invite them to join us. They're pretty fantastic, but they are quite loud, so I apologize. My name is Allie Burton. I'm the president and CEO of Borgia Consulting out of Seattle, Washington. And I'm also the co-founder of Obsidian Development Group, which is a data center development company, also based out of Washington. And I did 23 years as an operator with Mortensen and McKinstry, hiring nationally for the last, honestly, dating myself, probably 25 years across the built environment, both behind the meter and in front, and down into the craft and the workforce planning side. So that's what I do. My firm helps advance and accelerate talent. And obviously, we're hopefully going to develop some data centers that will employ them.
There you go.
Thank you for having me, Amy.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming on. And Roxanne.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm a mission critical construction recruiter. I specialize in executive recruiting for data centers, particularly on the construction side, which is pretty broad. So it's a lot. But yeah, that's the gist of what I do in a nutshell. I'll keep it short for you, Amy. I'll give you more time.
Yes, Roxanne, and you've been only doing this, 25 years? Did I promote you? Is it 25? Is that right?
Close, in different avenues. I started in military family services, doing career services. I did facility services, which is a great segue into recruiting somehow, but it's made me very successful. So I enjoy it, and I know the complexities of what we're looking for in talent, and can do the creative thinking to match talent to job announcements and what the company actually needs, and build teams. So yeah, I have made a career out of it uniquely.
Yeah. And we were talking before the call, and she's like, I'm even more busier than I'm usually busy. So, I mean, which is a good thing. But to me, that means that projects are starting to get kicked off the ground, which is good. We've had a lot of talk about all these projects for the last year. Oh yeah, we're going to build this, and we're going to build that. And we're going to be able to get this gigawatt here, this gigawatt there. And now they're actually moving, which is good, which is really good. That's awesome. Yeah, very cool. All right. So we'll talk about, I have a couple of topics I wanted to get to. We can talk about the talent shortage, which we know about. But before we get there, This is like the biggest flashing news since whenever. So the groundswell of We Hate Data Centers has finally made it to the U.S. Congress, and Bernie Sanders and AOC have introduced a thing to do a data center moratorium. I'm sure it's like dead on arrival, but yeah. So Allie, did you like reproduce yourself? Okay. All right. You want me to switch you? Okay, all right, got it. All right, you reproduce yourself. All right, I love it when people clone themselves. It's real life cloning. It's awesome. All right, very cool. All right, awesome. So, what do we do? Do we think it's dead on arrival? I don't think it's going to go anywhere. What is it that this misinformation that people have? Like, what is it that's driving this groundswell of We Hate Data Centers and their people? I get all sorts of things, by the way. I volunteered myself to be a punching bag on Facebook, and I go onto Facebook and I will reply to people going, no, that's not right. No, they're not doing that. No, they're not spying on you. No, they're not contaminating the water or the air. Like none of this stuff. But I just, and so I think, I don't know if y'all saw, but there's this YouTube clip out there with Bernie Sanders talking to Claude. And Claude is advising Bernie Sanders to put a data center moratorium on because all they care about is money. And I'm just like, I'm like going, okay, so you're going to listen to the AI that tells you that we need a data center. You're basically like living out that like there's an AI overlord because it's telling you what to do. I don't understand. All right, Roxanne.
Perhaps Bernie should work on his Mandarin.
I know exactly. I know. I don't get it. I mean, obviously, this crowd, we know that we're critical. I think, who was it? There was a group that came out and just said, basically, this is just silly. You don't slow the train. We'll figure out how to build it more responsibly, and we are figuring out how to build more responsibly. With obviously, Catherine knows about the cooling changes, and we're in the thick of it, and changing our water reduction. And Allie, you do developments, and I do too. Like. A lot of the stuff that was like the biggest moving target for me on my developments outside of Austin was how much water are we actually going to need? Because everybody's like, well, no, you don't really need a whole lot of water. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I have to put in a water request for a certain.
Is that a bottle of water? Is that a bucket of water? Is that an aquifer? Could we be clear?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm guessing, like, and I'm still kind of guessing because depending on who comes in, it could be 10,000 gallons a day. It could be nothing, absolutely nothing, or it could be, maybe 50,000 gallons, which is still nothing. Like, but I can't limit myself. I just find it super interesting. I don't know.
And really hard to explain to the average bear if they don't live in nerdland with us in data centers. It's a really complicated topic, not just geographically, but from an OEM perspective, you're not always in control of the type of equipment you're going to need to be able to put into your data center. And we don't control the manufacturing of that.
Right.
Have you felt like that's been kind of a barrier, Amy, just trying to figure out, okay, well, are we going to have liquid cooling or are we not? Is this an AI computer or not?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like, is it going to be part CPU, part GPU? Like, who's depending on who comes in, and then even who comes in. Like, if it's a developer, like I don't know, Overwatch here in Austin, or Edged, or one of those guys, they don't know what the end tenant's going to need. They have no clue. So that you have to wait until is it Meta? Is it Amazon? Is it a bank? Is it whoever? Are we going to do? And what are we going to build? So we don't really know. It's like you're guessing. So it's kind of an interesting thing. But they're all doing closed loop. And what I find is that even the power gen is moving to closed loop, right? So like even because a lot of everybody's doing behind the meter. So I find those solutions are becoming really, really helpful. So it minimizes what the water looks like. And I mean, I'll let Catherine talk. She's a carrier. So y'all are just devising like all these cooling systems, and most everything you're seeing is closed loop, right? that y'all are all new developments are closed loop? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, there's just, as usual, politicians, whether you're conservative or liberal, they are taking advantage of the misinformation that has been put out there for years and years and years. And we've been talking about this at data center events, iMasons, different venues about what are we going to do about it. And so I think we've all been trying to be the champions of, the right information, the accurate information, but there just wasn't enough of us talking enough about it. And so it was a matter of time, like you said, Amy, in the beginning, that somebody, one politician or a bunch of, politicians were going to jump on the bandwagon of misinformation. So I kind of laugh when you talk about Facebook, because I'm originally from Michigan, from the Detroit area. And within the last 6 to 9 months, they've announced a couple of really big data center projects there. And it hit my Facebook, with my own personal friends. So I took a pause before reacting immediately, but I did try to talk them off the cliff, that it's a misinformation. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing, but it's really difficult to do on Facebook. So I really need to pick up the phone. I don't want to make enemies of my friends, but because you don't want to insult people, right? Like, you don't want to make them sound like they're not informed or they're not getting their information in the right spot. But the truth of the matter is they are not getting their information from the right place. They're being manipulated. So it's sad.
They're using Google with runs on a data center to give them misinformation. Well, it's not necessarily misinformation. They're just expecting that what was built in 2022 is what's going to be built tomorrow, which is not the case. Right. And so they're just got bad information, and Google's not necessarily telling them the wrong thing. Yes, that's how they were built in 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to stop this train, just like we didn't stop automobiles from being built or railroad tracks being built. Not that I was alive back then, but you know where I'm going with this. You're not going to stop this technology. And to Allie's point earlier, we either do it or start learning Mandarin, because and then talk about national defense and everything that goes along with it. It's not a good move. Definitely not a good move.
Do y'all remember when cell phones were evil and you put them up your ear, it's going to ruin your brain? Do y'all remember that thing?
Yeah.
I often think, I don't know, Catherine, I don't want to be provocative here. Roxanne, you might chime in here, but maybe we're not going to have a World War III the way we thought we were. Perhaps we are in an economic World War, and this is World War III. And that reframing is really interesting. When you think about the constraints and the roadblocks that we have that we're all going to talk about today, I'm just curious. I mean, my team talks about this all the time. Is the reason we're not communicating effectively because we've been so secretive? Because we're engineers, because we're protecting the NSA and other very important sovereign data centers. I mean, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. We talk about it all the time, because when you think about how much a data center, or say like a digital hub or an industrial complex, can bring to a state's revenue, especially a state that has perhaps had some issues in the past, with manufacturing leaving, offshoring, etc. I mean, a single data center can generate tens of millions or hundreds of millions in annual revenue for the state, which can be distributed into all types of things. So I have such a hard time understanding, like, why wouldn't you want it?
Yeah, I think in the past we've discussed a lot about data centers in general as a PR problem, and some of the misinformation or outdated information is part of that, because we're dealing with incredibly complex issues of every avenue of a data center build that we look at. And how do you explain that where the average population can absorb it and understand it, and it's still interesting to them and still grabbing their attention? And I don't think we're doing a good job at that. And that also leads into where the skills gaps are, the talent gaps, and all of those things. And for women, I mean, do we even know that these jobs are available? And I'm speaking as a whole, because it is secretive. We don't do a good job of publicizing what we're doing for various reasons in the past. But now, data centers are mainstream. And so we have to be more public with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they kind of coalesce that AI and the data center are just one. So if they hate
One.
AI, they're going to hate the data center. Right?
Yes.
And I'm just like going, okay, no, because data centers, like they do storage and they do all these other things too that are really, really helpful. But yeah, no, in Hayes County, which is just south of Boston, they basically denied CyrusOne from coming in. There was this big hoopla of all this other stuff. And so Greg Abbott, being Greg Abbott, he just basically said, no local law cannot allow a data center to come into the state, basically, and just said, done. We're not doing this. Y'all are knuckleheads. And so it's kind of good and bad per se. Like he's like King Abbott, and so he can do that. He's right. But I hate to do it that way. I'd rather just educate people and explain to people we're not evil. Like data centers are not evil. Like we're so necessary and needed in everything that's going to happen going forward. And the AI has been out of the box. You cannot put the worms back in the box. It's out. So like let's get used to some of this stuff. All right, okay. Enough on that one. I beat that one to death. I don't know if I'm going to be. It's kind of a interesting thing. If we're, Allie, you and I are developers, we're going to face it. Like every time I talk to somebody who might be my customer, that's the number one question they say is like, how are you going to deal with the community? Because the community is being real. I don't know.
Right. And the big ones, the big hyperscalers are spending a lot of money trying to accelerate legislation and also get in front of some of these NIMBY issues. I mean, I recently saw that $95 billion worth of projects were blocked last year or in the last rolling year, especially in California, which then kills like tens of billions of housing and infrastructure and industrial projects. It's such a big wave, and I think it's so hard to connect when you just see like the volatility of all the things that could happen that would be bad versus the positive. And secretive too, I would also say, I mean, I'm married to an engineer, and I love you, honey, but you're not a great communicator, and that's why we're a great pair. And when data centers are mainly run by a certain group of humans, there is, I think, huge gaps in both the narrative and the long-term return of the outcomes of developing these projects.
No.
That's you guys. That's you. Just hold nothing near here. Love my partners, by the way.
Sometimes it's like this with them. They can't connect the dots. I'm just saying. Yes, we get to pick on men on this show. Yay!
I do have to go home at some point, Amy.
That's all right. He's still in. He's probably going, yeah, you're right. Probably. I mean, it's true. Okay, let's talk about. All right, let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk through this whole talent, like recruitment versus retention, and how are we actually going to get women into the industry? I mean, honestly, let's be real. Like, you get a woman in the room, the place just runs better. Like, especially you get them in leadership. Women-led companies operate. They are more profitable than man-led companies. It just is. We're like really super awesome at that. So Roxanne, you're an executive recruiter. How many women are you seeing? And like, how do you feel like we can get more women in this industry? So we're not alone at conferences, like, because I don't have to go to the bathroom to find the other women, like really.
Well, I see few women. And I will say, I want to put a PSA out there to women. When a recruiter calls you, please answer the phone. I think we are so busy doing our real jobs and being efficient at those that we don't ever want to hear, or we would have that sense of loyalty that we don't want to hear about other opportunities. And there really are great opportunities. Because in my role, I find that, men are quicker to answer the phone and answer that email because they probably have a little more time than we do. But, I have a hard time getting women on the phone or to respond or to be a part of groups or to mentor the next. And that doesn't mean there aren't wonderful women who do. A lot of us are in this room. But, I think I hit that, head on. And so I go to women's events. I'm in my community. I try to make anything that's women related because it's important to get the word out there that there are other opportunities that will serve them and their work-life balance, and their career goals probably better sometimes than where they are. And I think that's why, Amy, you started your own company because of, you were like, I want to change something. And you too, Allie, you were like, I want to do something different. And we've all advanced in our careers over adversity and strife in certain ways, not all, but some. So anyway, women out there, answer the recruiter, especially me. Hi, how are you?
Roxanne, we're all going to post you on our LinkedIn after this. Like, call Roxanne. It is
Yes.
And I would say to them, don't be afraid. I know that there's a lot of fear right now and a lot of things. But if we don't lead and we don't set the example and we don't stand up and say, no, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
It will not change. Because I keep going back, and Catherine, let me know what you think here. I know we could come up with a safe word because I talk too much. We don't have a talent pipeline problem. We have a work design problem. And the entire model is based on old banking KPIs and productivity metrics that are not quite in alignment with what we're trying to do, nor is it alignment with the way in which we're trying to work. And to be respectful to all of my amazing male mentors, colleagues, and friends who have accelerated my career tremendously, they too see it. We all go, where do we start? How do you start to break a mold that is financed by the guys from Princeton and Harvard Business School, bless you?
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, go ahead, Catherine. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, 4 years ago, I didn't know what a data center was. Okay. My background is in automotive, industrial. I worked commercial trucks. I was always in, finance and product management, leadership roles in completely different industries. And when I came to Carrier, I interviewed for an industrial role. And during the interview, the hiring manager said, would you be interested in taking over data centers? And I'm like Googling it, right? 4 years ago, we didn't have all the AI. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that, And I was lucky enough to have some great mentors that immediately took me under their wing and, just basically steered me to all the right resources, whether they be podcasts or industry publications or data center events or data center industry associations. And I was just all over it. And I fell in love with the industry, listening to podcasts like Data Center Revolution, just a lot of different ones got me really excited right off the bat. So I think part of the problem is that people feel, it's not generational. I just think it's in general, it's comfort, it's safety that I work in this industry and I do this. And, like Kirk Offal always talks about, it's like you can do other things. You don't have to be an engineer, a software engineer, or, people have this idea of what skill sets you need to work in the data center industry. And that, again, is another mold or another, more misinformation that we need to, crack, right? We need to get people to understand that you can take skills from whether it's finance or HR or organizational development or whatever it is, engineering, if you were in automotive, those skill sets are transferable. They're always transferable. It's being, just embracing it. And it's really an exciting industry. I'm so glad I took that job. This job, the one I'm still in. So
yeah. I think the data center industry has this feeling of being a black box. Like something goes in, we don't know exactly what's happening in there, but we know everything runs on it, right? Like, or I don't know how they think Google runs or Facebook runs, or like, I don't know how they think anything that they do, like StreamYard. Like I remember it was July, Google went down and I couldn't host my show. Because StreamYard went down and Riverside went down. I was trying to find any streaming service I could do to host my show, but Google had an outage and forget it. I like my best New York. Forget about it. It was not happening. And so it's just this I don't know, invisible, Voldemort thing where it's out there. We don't talk about it. but everything we do runs on it. Like, and so it's really kind of an interesting thing. Like, we had a show. This is hilarious. We had a show. It was a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember. Maybe last month. And we're talking about veterans and getting veterans into the data center industry, right? And so I needed a guinea pig veteran. So who do I call? I call my kid. My oldest boy is a veteran, Army vet. And I'm like, all right, you're getting it. He's like, you have no choice, Evan. Get on the show. And so it was great. So I had like 4 recruiters around, all just specifically veteran recruiters, all former vets. And they were like basically having at it all, my boy. But I was like, Evan, I want you to be real. Tell us exactly what you think about the industry, what you know, what you don't know, so we can understand. He didn't know a lot. I'm like, I'm your mother. Like, how do you not know? Like, I'm not sharing with you. Like, I'm failing in my motherhood. I'm not sharing this information to him. But it was like, he's like, yeah, I don't think that anything that I can do would have it. And he did combat intelligence in the Army, and he's worked security jobs at Travis County. I'm like, they would hire you tomorrow. Like, go get a job, kid. Like, it would be interesting. But yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. Anyway, I digress.
I'm just really curious, like, on this talent shortage. I mean, Roxanne, like, it keeps becoming this people conversation, but it's actually an execution problem, right? Like, this is significant delivery risk for us, Amy. And I feel like I'm, I don't know, kind of a parrot, and I keep saying the same things. People are like, yeah, that's important. Let's call HR. I'm like, you leave Karen alone, okay? She's got a full load. I did that job. It's really hard. So let's give our HR partners a hand and say they're just trying to keep the trains on the track. And at what point did you acquiesce your accountability and responsibility to your workforce, usually Mr. CEO, COO, CMO, whatever it happens to be. So if we have, say, 500,000 people working in data centers right now, and fewer than 100,000 of those roles are really shaping, hiring, and delivering, making the decisions, right? And only 8 to 10% of the entire workforce is women. It is your fault. Mm-hmm. If 90%, 92% are men making the decision and hiring, and we haven't nudged this in a decade. It's been 8 to 10% of the workforce for the last 10 years. I'm more concerned about that. Why isn't it growing even a little bit?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I am so sorry, but I do have a customer meeting. This has been so much fun, and I am so honored that you don't even know me, and you called me up or sent me a LinkedIn message. I'd love to do this again. I'd really love to talk to all of you. So have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all again soon.
All right, thanks for coming.
Okay,
go get him, Catherine. It's the year of the fire horse. We believe in you.
I try. Bye.
Awesome, but yeah, so you're right though, Allie. Like it is this interesting thing. Why hasn't it moved? But if you look at traditional male-dominated industry, construction, which I was in, like private equity, real estate. Here, like we're not getting more women in. I don't know why. I don't know why. And where are they going? Because they're like 55% of the workforce is women. So where the heck are they going? Why are they not going into things like construction and engineering? I don't know.
Or why aren't they staying if they go in?
Yeah.
Why didn't you stay? I mean, I think that's an honest conversation, and I feel like it's very provocative to be honest about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, I got you. Like, that makes sense. So why, this retention versus recruitment thing, if you can keep them, right? If we feel like, I don't know how long ago it was, I spoke at a women's conference. And there was this, so I was doing research to like sound intelligent at a women's conference, but there is this kind of, and they named this syndrome where we feel like as women that we have to act like men in order to get ahead. Like we have to change our personas in a way that so we can get promoted or wherever it might be. And so then at some point we become so disingenuous with what we really are that we just quit and we just stop. And I can't remember what that was called. But it was this like syndrome that we do. And I was just like, well, I kind of get that. Like, I think
Yeah.
I changed my personality when I was on job sites. I had to. Like if I did it, nobody would take me seriously. So I had to talk in a certain way, lower my voice a little bit, ugly up. One of my professors like, Amy, you're gonna have to ugly up if you're gonna go on a job site. I'm just saying, do not show up in makeup and cute. Like, just don't do it. I was like, kind of like you. That's awesome.
I think about the energy waste that you had from masking that could have been spent on doing other things. And I
know, right?
Men are likely feeling the same way and can't say it. Or men who perhaps don't fit into the heterosexual mold.
Right.
Well, I think it's how women and men perceive things differently as well. So on my end, if a woman and a man both ask me for a job description, if I send it to a woman, she's immediately going to say, I don't fit all of the qualifications. And I'm like, well, these are just kind of suggestions. Where a man will be like, well, hey, I fit 3 out of the 5. I'm in, solidly. I can do this. And so I think in some ways, women need to, and myself included, I'm very critical of myself. So we need to say, okay, well, I don't have the skills today, but I have the foundations to have these skills and I have the ability to gain these skills. And so I face that a lot. And then on the retention side of things, I will say a lot of the problem is now I have 4 kids, so I say this lovingly, but sometimes as women, we think, can we do it all? Does this company offer us the work-life balance and the structure and the flexibility to do it all? And I think that's a big question mark at a lot of places. So, and I think companies need to do a better job of answering that in their promotional materials and during the interview process and the hiring process. So women in particular know that they can.
There's also we need to completely redesign the system. We basically hire people like a supply chain. Like they're just like these little models, like running on this conveyor belt. And you're like, that's not actually the human experience. And I hope that AI impacts that. But I can't help but think, Amy, like we tie that back to the grid, right? The instability of both our electrical infrastructure, our critical infrastructure, our workforce infrastructure, all of those things are compounding and impacting over time. And if we start to see surge pricing because of power constraints, it's going to hurt women even more. Because the cost of care in this country is shameful. It's shameful. I put 2 kids through daycare all the way up, and it was probably about $200,000. That could have gone into nonprofits or their further education or
I know. I know.
So that's a redesign problem. Oh, well, we don't want to touch that. No, you have to, because you're actually like holding yourself back from 50% of the population. It's not a good business decision.
No. Yeah. I don't know how you do more like remote management where you can hire folks that can work from home. Like they said. So perfect example, my son, he's a new dad. And he's like, they're having to, so she's working because he was working at the county doing security. She was actually making more money than him. Good for her. And she went back to work and he stays home with the baby because they're like, we looked at the daycare expenses and it was like what I would be getting paid. And so there was no net benefit for him to go back to work. And I was like, well, okay, so there's going to be a lot of people, and I hope, because our population is dwindling, I was like, hurry up, y'all need to have 10 more kids because like we're not going to have like anyone who uses AI because we're like, anyway.
I also want to just drop in there for a friend of mine who's a single mom who has to spend upwards of $2,000 every time she has to go on a business trip. It is not reimbursed by her company for childcare, and someone to come watch her kids so she can travel. That's just there are these little actions. There are a million samurai cuts that keeps us at the age of 10%. Can we just get to 15? If we get to 15, I'd take 11. Can we just get to 11? That's a lucky number. How about we just start there?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to have to be flexible work, and they're going to have to understand, especially I'm a single mom too. Like if I work from home, and if I had to go somewhere or travel, thank God I've got like family around me, because otherwise it wouldn't work. Right. I've, done all of that.
And I don't want to point fingers at all the operators and builders here. I mean, I've been behind that fence, and it is not easy. And thank you for all the work you do. You get up every day making it happen. Right. And we're grateful. And I'm very grateful that I had a husband that supported my career, was able to help me pay for daycare so I could travel and I could build my career, become an executive, and become a founder, and all of the things. Lucky me. Entitled as hell, right? Not all women have that. And I look at the operators and go, I think they're doing good work. The Vantages of the world, really doing awesome work in workforce and thinking through. That's a shout out for you, Amy Garner, wherever you are. She's leading some really amazing things there to help accelerate this topic. But I look at the investors. The banks are making the decisions, but they're never around when it gets hard. So who's holding them accountable? And if you're a private organization, you're not held accountable to reporting on your numbers. So you can't say, for example, that perhaps you've lost 25% of your female population in a year, which I have seen, but they keep it quiet because it's shameful, right? It's embarrassing. Why can't we hold on to women? Well, we've already discussed the why. So how do you change that? And why is it always us having to have the conversation?
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. I know. I think it's definitely interesting. I don't think there's a one size fits all for, obviously not everybody or even every organization. But if I were to go take a job, which I have, my last job at a corporate environment was a long time ago. And if I were to do that, I would have to be like, I have to leave. I can't be at my desk. I have to do these things, and I'll be the best employee for you, but you can't, I'll get the job done. Just don't force me to sit at a desk. Don't force me to be here. Don't force me to do that. And give me twice the amount of work of anybody else. I'll get it all done at different hours, but I don't know. I'm probably not like everybody, but I think this flexibility in the work, if there's something that you can't, now I get on construction sites, I get it. I was a GC. Trust me. I know exactly what you're going through, but there is flexibility in there. A lot of people don't realize that. You can start your shifts later. Weather happens. You're going to have to move stuff around. You have flexibility to run 2 shifts, 3 shifts, whatever it is you want to do, depending on how fast you got to get it done. There's flexibility in the system. People just don't think that way, but there is.
Yeah, I know from my perspective, Amy, I have talked this dead into the ground about talent shortages and my belief systems around that. And I'm glad Amy shares Allie and Amy both share my viewpoint a little bit on, we do have the pipelines. It's just how we get creative about it. And I do not want to harp on HR because I think they're wonderful, but I do think we have an HR innovation problem. But where does that start? It starts at the top, and it starts with hiring managers. And I say hiring managers because they are the ones creating the job descriptions, right? They're saying this is what I need, and it's not necessarily always accurate. And then it's the HR, the talent acquisition teams that are left fumbling what that looks like to even find that in their current pipeline internally or externally. So with that said, I do believe that HR teams need a little bit more leeway to be innovative. And some of this is the entitlements and incentives that are offered. And we can do it at whole cost savings talk about what it would look like to do childcare and healthcare versus some of the other obscure incentives that they give.
Is it human resources or is it human risk management?
all of it.
I would like to understand the differentiation as
Yeah.
someone who believes they're both important. However, this is an operational process. This is not a human. I agree with you, Roxanne, as somebody who has been in HR, and I totally agree with you. They're working so hard. Oftentimes, it's not the core business of most of these companies to be in the people business, but it actually is. Your most expensive, highest risk asset is your human capital. Why don't you know more about that than you do about liquid cooling?
Yeah,
And we know why.
It's 30% of your budget. 30% of your budget.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, women only make up 28% of the office holders in the 2023 Congress. Which one of them's driving a daycare reform, work reform strategy? Bless them.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
The major opportunities, I'd like to see some people stand up on, especially the COOs of the world. Stop pointing fingers at HR. You've under-resourced them and constrained them forever. Is human resources still going to be a thing in 2035? It'll look really different.
Yeah.
I'm demoing an HR generalist AI bot for my company, for my clients, because they can't afford you, right, Roxanne? They can't afford someone of your caliber, nor would I want to waste your time on churn rules. Like, I want you talking to somebody like an Amy and trying to navigate in the same places. So I think it's a big opportunity, and also really enjoying the conference season. The women in this space have been so incredible and so welcoming and awesome. But we have to help each other from a career standpoint, and we need to be really clear that there are very few women in the C-suite. So if that's your path, you might want to consider some different options rather than a standard W-2. Call me if you need some help.
No, I don't know. I've been an entrepreneur for way too long. That's how I got.
Oh no,
myself.
Amy, they don't want us back. I know they don't.
I
It's
know,
okay.
they
I'm
just-
still
they
your
don't.
friend. You can hang out with me.
We don't,
And
Justin.
Roxanne.
When I took that corporate gig 10 years ago, I was like bulldozing my way through things and then pissing people off because I wouldn't wait around for them to think about it. I'm like, no, come on, let's go. What are we waiting on, people?
Yeah. No, I think there's this idea, this perspective of role, and because there's so few women, to show the diversity of personalities and experiences and backgrounds, right? I think in particular, the power structures in a lot of these businesses that are built around control, right? And risk management and project management. Of course, that's where their mind goes. So I don't think anybody's doing this on purpose. But if you don't admit it's an opportunity and then you try to squash it, you're the problem.
Yeah. So if we were going to think outside the box and redesign what it would look like, what would it look like? Like how should we recruit differently? What should we do?
Well, I think the first step is understanding, in terms of construction, we understand time to market very well, but in terms of people and talent movement, we don't. I do. And for the trades, it's 10 days. You have 10 days to make a decision. If you don't make a decision, they go elsewhere. On the executive level side, you have 45 days or they go elsewhere. So all the roles in between, fill in the blanks. And average hiring practices right now is 90 to 120 days. The federal sphere has changed it to 80 days. It's not good. It's not good out there. And so what happens is that gives everyone leadway to take time. Oh, we got to do 20 rounds of interviews or whatever companies are doing. And it's not good enough. It has to be a complete redesign at first step. And then we can get to all the benefits and entitlements and all the, wonderful retention things, but you got to do the hiring right.
I'd like to give a shout out to the National Institute of Industrial Career Advancement, NICA, if anyone knows Rob Wyman and Martha. They're doing some great work to accelerate apprenticeships. It's also an incredible way to get ahead of your community NIMBY issues by posting jobs and opportunities and learn to earn I think that's a part of it, right? That there's an educational barrier to getting into the data centers where you don't have a technician background or you grew up in construction, right? My dad was a mechanic, Amy, you know, like we got into that early, right? Then you're essentially going to have to go to school to do that. Well, if you're a mother and you're already struggling with care, education's a barrier. So they're trying to get over that. NOVA, the Northern Virginia Data Center Operations Program, is incredible as well. They're also trying to run really fast. So if I think about how do we block and tackle this, start giving them some money and helping them like help you be more successful, right? They're nonprofits, right? They're educational institutions. Our 4-year programs have some big opportunities to keep up with where we're going to need them to be to produce this talent. And I also just want to throw this out there as a female founder, and I'm on a mixed team in addition to having my own startup. You know, female-only teams only get 1% of total US VC funding.
I know.
That's the lowest share since 2017. So why has that gone down? If we're looking for diversified workforce solutions, critical infrastructure solutions, power solutions, you need diversified perspectives. And you can't have that if you keep half of the world out of the space. So I'm done.
Yeah.
That was enough. I've made my point.
I know, you got on your soapbox.
So Molotov cocktail rebuilt the whole thing. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Start
over.
I mean, one of the cool things that I would plug my little company is we are building VR and AR training solutions for the data center industry so people don't have to go anywhere. They can just use a tablet or put on a MetaQuest or whatever it might be and get trained. Right. I think training, well, at least, you know, you're not going to get everything, but at least like an introduction, like this is what a data center is. So if you're like a maintenance guy at a multifamily industry where you know electrical, you know HVAC, you know general carpentry, but you don't know what a data center looks like or how even to operate or walk into one, you know, being able to just get trained wherever you are, wherever you're sitting on demand. I think that would increase our talent pool for sure, right? And just kind of this is what's going to be. So there's not this fear of, well, I have no idea what that is, so I'm not going to apply. I think that might help too.
We put daycares in the data centers and we give those kids wrenches and put them to work.
No, I'm telling you, man.
Child labor laws. You don't need them.
My 4-year-old can run a computer better. You know, like back in the day, all of my kids could run the electronics better than I could. And I'm a tech founder.
I honestly think we should just go to every PTSA in America and pull the PTSA executive team, you know, whoever the president and the treasurer, and those are our next generation of founders and leaders. They're terrifying and fantastic. That's what we need. We need more people that ride at dawn like Sybil Waddington. Note, I did not say Paul Revere because Sybil did it first.
That's too funny. So as we think of like, let's talk about highlighting women because it's all about women shows. So the women that you know in the industry, let's do shout outs. So we're going to do shout outs to the people that you think are doing really cool things. So my shout outs are like Nancy Novak. She's like at Compass, like she's doing really, she always has been. Karen Petersburg at she's over at Powerhouse. She's doing really cool things. There's a lot of women like Samidra Thakral. She's at Prologis. Like she's doing really cool stuff. All right, open up the mics. Shout out women. They're doing really cool things.
Allie, you go ahead because I want to find one particular one that
all right. I'm going to
in love with. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Amy Lovato for killing it and being mom.
Thanks.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. I know it isn't easy, and it's not easy to get up with a mic and say, hey, here's some real opportunities and be authentic about it. So thank you for the platform. I really appreciate it. I'd love to come back if I wasn't too offensive.
Oh yeah,
I've got so many more opinions to share. I would like to thank Chrissy Olson, who is a longtime leader in the space, and also helped me when I was starting. When she came, NPI Narada is one of my clients. They support women businesses. Love you guys. Casney Engineering. they're another one of my clients that were like, we really want to diversify the way we think about our business development and how we go to market. So I want to thank some of these like mid-tier operators, boutique firms, investment firms, and my mentors, Mark Thiele, Entreprenara, Eric Bondo, Kevin Muncie, my business partners. Sorry, I'm going to get to the ladies, but I think that we should shout out the men that stand up and say, man, I look forward to a day where we don't have to talk about these types of disgusting statistics and we're all just killing it because we're all exceptional.
Yes.
And then Val Crofton for what she's doing with Bill Burr. I think that's really awesome. Alyssa Miller for all of the attention she's bringing to the, and also one of my besties. And she's, by the way, running all the PR for Yada. So make sure you reach out. We're going to have a good time this year. Gosh, there's so many amazing people. Her team is doing a really good job. And I'd love to just shout out to my business partner, Sarah Spencer Workman, who is driving the energy conversation behind the meter, like Chicken Little, as fast as she can, having spent the last 20 plus years behind it. So there's my list. And I'm sorry if I missed anybody. Oh, my daughter, Tegan.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she's 14. And I said, you want to go into data centers? And she said, I think I'm going to be a horse dentist so I can afford my ponies. And I said, that's fine. That makes sense. It makes sense to me. Yeah.
Those horse dentists get paid a lot. I'm just saying.
She really liked his car, and he said not only does he get to pay for all of his horses in his stable, but he's done at work at 3:30. And she's like, I like that. My mom works like an animal.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. All right, your turn, Roxanne.
Yes. Well, beyond you, Amy, you're the ultimate connector, and I just appreciate you so much. And then personally, as a woman, I just love watching your trajectory in life and everything that you've overcome to be what you are. But beyond that, I want to highlight a junior person. Her name is Jennifer Choate. She's with Fortress Building Products. She's an internal recruiter. And she's junior in her role, has been there for 2 years, but she is doing amazing work. They've started a mission critical division, and she is just a bull in a china cabinet. She wants to learn everything. She wants to learn everything about data centers. And she also came and was just like, I don't know if I can do it. And call me every week. I'll tell you everything I know. I don't mind. And so she's fantastic. And then Amy Dobrokov. She's wonderful. She's in business development. She started in EV charging and solar. And I talked to her one time and she's like, I never even knew that we had a data center division. I said, why are you not in it? Now she's in it and she's killing it. And she's a rock star and she works for Rexel Energy. So all doing great. And I didn't want to highlight any of my candidates or clients because you're all wonderful, everyone, but I want you to all stay secret and confidential. So these people that I'm highlighting just inspire me outside of those spheres. So everyone's doing great work.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've met so many really cool women. Karen Cooper, she's, I think, I can't remember. She was at DLR now. I think she went somewhere. But yeah, and it's funny, because in the data center industry as a whole has been, when I kind of pivoted a couple of years ago into the industry, because I was a developer in other asset classes and I got into the data center industry. I will say everybody's been really welcoming. Like everybody's been like, hey, we all need help. Everybody's got to pitch in. We're just like our butts are on fire. But the women too were really, really welcoming, and it's been a really cool couple of years.
And if you're not on the WhatsApp group, get on the WhatsApp group.
Oh yeah, I don't think I am. You got to get me on the WhatsApp.
I don't think
group.
I am.
Yeah, it is a fantastic, there's about 250, 300 people on there, and it was really kind of what you're doing here, Amy, which is creating community and creating places of trust, to be honest. And there's also really awesome strings when you go to conferences. So if you're by yourself, reach out to Stacy Heckel or Terry Klug from Big T. They will get you all set up. I think that those two, I was with Terry yesterday all day. They have been the most welcoming and frankly some of the coolest, most badass women that I have ever met. So thank you for being so welcoming, all of you.
All right, before we go, give us the DCD rundown since I didn't get to go because my flight was canceled.
Oh man, it was really well done. There's a lot of conversations about power. There's a lot of misinformation about water. I think everyone's confused. A lot of people went to the NVIDIA thing, so didn't make DCD. So I do think that power, workforce will continue to be some of the biggest topics of conversation. I do believe that what I saw in some of the conversations I had around modular data centers and on-site power and behind-the-meter power generation is creating a lot of entryways for women to enter. So just a plug for Roxanne, for Amy, for myself, if it's something you want to do or you want to get into a better role or you're looking to start your own company and you're just looking for the sisterhood, we're here for you. Let's put our time and our attention where our mouth is, right? So I'm at your service, and I am lucky that others were there for me, so I can do it for them.
Yeah, no. Power gen is the next thing for sure. Like, I mean, every data center is going to have to do behind the meter power, and there's this whole like new workforce that's going to need to be hired at, like, you have all the energy people and then understanding what that looks like. I mean, that's kind of what my company does. So and
I know you partner with Method Experts, who I also partner with Borja, and we're trying to accelerate all of this really quickly, which is awesome. I would give a plug to Data Center World of Bill Kleiman. We are doing a half-day workforce workshop on April 20th at Data Center World in DC. So I think we only have room for 150 people, but it's going to have a pretty awesome panel. You both are invited as well. We have a couple pretty big players. I don't want to say because you know how things happen, talking about what it's like to try to drive this topic both within an organization and on the outside of it, as well as what are some actions you can take if you're a smaller operator already overwhelmed by the cost of doing business and the constraints. So how do we show up for that level of company too and make sure it's not just the hyperscalers we're talking about all the time?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm speaking there too on April the 21st. So yes, so I'll come find you.
You, me, wine. Women, wine.
Yes. All good. All right.
Are we getting you, Roxanne?
We're getting you.
I am speaking at a semiconductor forum. I spoke last year at Data Center World. This year, I'm at a semiconductor forum. I think we have so much exciting things in Texas, especially with semiconductors, that I'm going to be there talking about workforce development and what the talent looks like that. So I'm going to miss that, but I'm going to try to make DC World Power in Dallas, September. Count on me.
All right.
Okay, what about WIMCO San Antonio? Are we golfing? July in Houston. Who could say no?
It was in Houston last year. I went last year. Is it San Antonio?
I think it's in Houston. Stacey Heckle's running that event, or one of the leaders of that event. So reach out to her, give questions.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And look at that, y'all. It's been an hour. It goes by fast. I'm telling you, Allie. I told you at the beginning it was going to go by fast.
Oh man!
Like we're here.
All right. So scrubby. Appreciate you all.
Right. If Roxanne, if somebody would like to get a hold of you, how could they do that?
Well, you can look at this wonderful name right here on the screen, Roxanne Saponic, and you can plug that into LinkedIn, and I will connect with you happily. I conversate with people there regularly, but you can email me at roxannesaponic@josephchris.net. Or you can pick up your phone, everyone, and call me at 281-359-2192.
Awesome. And Allie?
I have that song, 8, 6, 7, 5. Same and same. You can find my website at borgiaconsulting.com. You can also find our development group at cityanddevelopment.com. But LinkedIn is probably the best place. And I'm very active on there. So it's my only social media. I can't do anything else. It's too overwhelming. Texting and LinkedIn. That's where, and parenting. That's about it. That's all I got.
I know. Well, all right. Go get drunk with that bachelorette party because that will be like so much fun. We're all jealous that we're not there.
Well, may your travels not include Newark, my friend.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's it, y'all. We will see all of y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thursdays, 1:30 p.m. Central. This has been the Data Center News Show. Thanks for watching.